problem with TSA airport screenings. The lines are just too long. The Homeland Security Director responding today, saying the TSA will immediately increase overtime hours. Do you see what's happening on the screen here?
What is going on there?
There was a problem in one of the airports out west where they couldn't, the screeners weren't working. So they couldn't screen the luggage.
Just sitting out there.
So it sat in the parking lot.
Wow.
People left. Their luggage stayed behind. They sent it to other airports to be screened and then forwarded to where the people were.
Oh, my gosh.
Luckily, it wasn't raining in Phoenix. 22 U.S. airports have already, that's just the screeners. Then there's the security getting through the lines. 22 have already signed up to use private security. Airports in Seattle and Atlanta are hoping to do the same. Gordon Bethune is the former chairman and CEO of Continental Airlines. Seth Kaplan is managing partner of Airline Weekly, and all four of us are going to collectively complain about this problem and see I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's got to be fixed. What do they do, Gordon?
Well, I think they reallocate the resources. You remember how to get the policemen from behind the desk and out on the streets? We've got a lot of people that aren't on the front line that probably need to be reevaluated and thrown at this. The answer isn't throw more money at it, but use your resources wisely. Airline guys can't go on vacation during peak travel periods, and there are all kinds of things you can do to meet the demand.
Seth, what are you hearing in terms of how big a problem this is? I mean, are flights leaving with empty seats because people are stuck in the line? I mean, that happened, actually. I was flying to Miami. Yeah. I got to the airport 2 hours for a domestic flight. I was pre-checked in, no checked luggage, and I almost didn't make the flight. I was the last person on the plane. I had to run to the gate.
Yeah, and you're not the only one. And it's a crime to be telling people, because look, in some cases, I mean, look, if you're flying from Miami to New York, you're going to grin and bear it, you're going to fly. But in a lot of markets where, you know, it's a few hundred miles and somebody can say, you know what, if you're telling me to show up 2 or 3 hours before my flight, I'll just drive instead. What we're doing in that case is telling people to get off the safest way to get around and to go the most dangerous way you could possibly go somewhere, which is to drive, you know, in a private car. And, you know, that, along with a million other problems with this, is a real shame.
Viewers of the show will know I'm no fan of government. I am a big fan of privatization in almost any form or fashion. Do we have any evidence at the airports where they have private security instead of public security? Gordon, is it better?
Well, Kansas City does a really good job. I'm thinking the answer here is there are a lot of really small airports like Rockport, Maine, that have full-time agents for the 4 flights of 10 people each. What we need to do is reallocate those resources into the major cities, take some planning to know that when Christmas is coming, you're going to need everybody on the job, so don't give vacations in those days, and get some of the administrators back in uniform, back on the front line. I think would help a lot.
Seth, do you think it's going to get any, I mean, a lot of people are heading into summer vacation time, right? Memorial Day weekend's around the corner. What should people do? Is it going to get any better in that short amount of time, you think?
Yeah, well, you know, some of the...
Seth, sorry.
Yeah, no. Some of the airlines are kind of taking matters into their own hands. You know, they're not. We sort of talk about the airlines collectively, but they've sort of taken different approaches. American has been complaining very loudly about this. Delta CEO a week or so back said, you know what? Complaining doesn't do anything. He said Delta has really been out there sort of offering its personnel to help with non-screening functions, you know, and in fact, Jay Johnson today talked about that, about bringing in some of the airlines to say, hey, look, obviously, airline personnel can't do the screening. You need the, you know, they can't hire or, you know, recruit, train the people, but they can help, you know, move the bid back to the other part of your line. So airlines, I think we're going to see jumping in, airport personnel, because, you know, in the end, this is bad for everybody, not just for the airline industry, but for this country, what it does to productivity when you just take that many hours out of people's days.
It's true. It just takes so long. Last word, Gordon. Any thoughts?
Well, you know, it needs management, and quite frankly, I think it's lacking there. I think the $2 they charged last year went to the general fund and not to security, so they need the funding that they are charging you for, and people aren't getting what they're paying for. But all in all, I think the airlines are paying twice. They're paying on the security fees, and then they're also, because they're losing seats, they're losing revenue because they've got to refund that ticket.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, Gordon, thank you so much. Gordon Bethune and Seth Kaplan.